event today. We're having a pizza party sponsored by Disabled American Veterans. We have Mike Hartnett here, who is part of that chapter. And we also like to give a special DAV chapter 144, Castle Point VA Hospital, for being here, right in the back over there. Yay. And we have entertainment here, Paul and Alyssa Martin, AKA Bob Hope. AKA, otherwise known the Bob Hope Division.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for being here. I thank you, and on behalf of the Disabled American Veterans, we all thank you for being here. All of our guests, we certainly thank, but most especially we thank all of our veterans. It is because of our veterans that we are in fact here, so we thank you very much. Pizza should be coming out shortly. As you know, we do 3 or 4 pizzas a year here. As a special treat today, we have Paul Martin, aka Bob Hope, and his daughter Alyssa, who sings as Dawn O'Day, all World War II period songs and jokes. You'll love these Bob Hope jokes, they're all period jokes. So again, we thank you. We especially thank our veterans. God bless America, and thank you, veterans, for your service. Thank you.
Welcome to Command Performance USA, with the greatest entertainers in America as requested by you, the fighting men of the United States Armed Forces throughout the world. This weekly program is governed by your letters, old Jeeps, and the War Department Redundancy Department, with anything from Judy Garland to the Andrews Sisters. As this program is being performed at various bases throughout the United States, a master recording is made, which will be shipped to Army and Air Force stations all over the world, for you men overseas, no matter how small your outfit. And speaking of small things and trivia in general, here's old General Trivia himself, your commanding officer of this command performance, your old sidekick and chief scout of the Wolf Patrol, Bob Hope.
Hey, fellas, welcome. Good afternoon, fellas. My name is Bob. That wasn't my case of Rheingold Hope that fell out of the Bombay, telling all you soldiers out there to brush your teeth with Pepsodent, using plenty of traction, and your teeth will never be missing in action. And though they're strictly GI, be it a lot or a few, your breath will never be PU. So I'm really happy to be here with you this afternoon, fellas, part of this USO radio broadcast coming to you from Montrose, New York. And as you know, the military is a very important part of my family. As a matter of fact, my aunt, she married a second lieutenant, and that was after the first one ran away. And I've been doing all these shows now for the USO for many, many years. Touring all around the world, entertaining the GIs and the airmen, the soldiers, and the Marines. They become so enamored with our show that they started calling me USO Bob. USO Bob, they've been calling me. Except I understand the Germans and the Japanese, or they shortened that a little bit, and they just call me USOB. Thank you so much. And I was here at the base the other day, and I went into the officers club, so you know I enjoy a glass of fruit punch every once in a while, so I wanted a glass of fruit punch. So I walk up to the bartender in the officers club and I say, can I get a glass of fruit punch? And the bartender said, listen buddy, if you want a glass of punch, you have to wait on that line over there. And I looked, but there was no punch line. Thank you so much. So, I was walking with my good friend Ann Shirley, the actress Ann Shirley, that some of you might know. We were walking down Hollywood Boulevard and we passed this dress shop. And she fell in love with this dress in the window. So she goes into the store and she asks the shopkeeper, she says, sir, can I try on that dress in the window? And the shopkeeper said, of course, but wouldn't you prefer the privacy of a dressing room? And I was asked to throw out the ceremonial coin toss at the last Army-Navy game this past December down in Philadelphia. And I'm out on the field with the Navy captain and the Army captain, and I throw the coin up in the air, I catch it, slap it on the back of my wrist, and the Navy captain says, "Heads!" And the Army captain says, "Latrines!" Thank you, sir. So, a lot of people don't know this. They think I got my start in the vaudeville stage, but actually before I got my start in the vaudeville stage, I was actually working in a circus. That's right. I was working in a circus because my father, he was a clown. He was a clown in the circus. And he wanted me to follow in his footsteps, but they were really big shoes to fill. And he always taught me that if you get into a fight with a gang of clowns in an alley, go for the juggler. That's right. Back in the day, the Pilgrim days at Plymouth Plantation in Massachusetts, when men would go into the woods and they'd curse and they'd beat the ground with sticks and with clubs, they called that witchcraft. Today, they call that golf. And I used to play a lot of golf with Bing Crosby, but not anymore. No, not anymore. Why, after all, would you play with a fella who, when nobody was looking, picked up his ball and tossed it closer to the hole? Of course not. And neither will Bing. And Bing and I were walking across the golf course one afternoon, and we came upon a huge hole in the middle of the golf course. Big, deep, wide hole. And we almost fell into it, in fact, it was so big. And we looked down and we couldn't see the bottom of the hole. So I said to Bing, "Gee, I wonder how deep that hole is." And Bing said, "Well, let's find out." I said, "How are we going to do that?" He said, "Let's find something that we could throw down into the hole, listen for it to hit the bottom, and then time it and figure out how deep it is." I said, "That's a great idea." So we walked into the woods off to the side of the hole there, and we found an old Jeep transmission hidden in the weeds in the woods. And we carried the Jeep transmission over, and we dropped it down the hole. And just as we did that, all of a sudden, a goat comes running as fast as he could in between our legs and jumps into the hole. And we had no idea where it came from. We were quite surprised. All of a sudden, the shepherd comes from out of the woods, and he says, "Say, fellas, have you seen a goat?" And we said, "As a matter of fact, we did, sir. We were standing here by this hole, and all of a sudden, this goat came running as fast as it could in between us and jumped into the hole." And the shepherd said, "That's impossible. I had him tied up to an old Jeep transmission." So I gotta tell you, I've been touring all around the world entertaining the troops with my iconic golf club. And the soldiers and the sailors and Marines are so appreciative of my golf club. Why? When we were in the China-Burma India Theater in India, some of the fellows there gave me this beautiful teak wood head for my golf club. And then we did a couple of shows for the Marines on Iwo Jima, and the Marines gave me this beautiful snakeskin handle wrap for my club. And then we came back to the States, back to Washington, D.C., and we did a couple of shows for Congress. Now, you all know Congress, right? Well, they gave me the shaft. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let me bring to the stage right now the lovely and talented Dawn O'Day. And Dawn is...
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Dawn, how are you? Great. And Dawn is starring with me in my next big Hollywood picture that we're going to call The Road to Montrose. Look for it at a theater near you. And Dawn, I want to congratulate you on your big hit in our new picture. It's nice to see youngsters coming up.
Thanks, Bob, and it's nice to see an oldster holding his own.
Well, Dawn, you're from the East Coast, from New York, and it was your first time in Hollywood. So tell me, Dawn, what did you think of the town?
Well, I was originally looking forward to meeting a very big star.
A really big star? Well, you're lucky you ran into me.
Why? Do you know any? Could you introduce me to someone like Frank Sinatra or Bing Crosby?
Bing Crosby? Let me tell you something, Dawn. I made a lot of motion pictures with Bing Crosby. And what would those pictures be without me?
Academy Award winning.
Oh, I gotta tell you something, Dawn. The Academy of Arts and Sciences just asked me to MC the Academy Awards at Grauman's Chinese Theater. So what do you think about that? Something might be in the works.
I hear at your house they just call that night Passover, though, because you passed over for all of the awards.
Oh, Dawn, you're hitting a sore spot there. But let me tell you, Dawn, the way that I see it, it seems to me that the Academy only gives awards to overwrought dramatic pictures, or massive, expansive westerns, or perhaps grandiose musical epics, while I, on the other hand, do comedies.
Is that what you call it? I hadn't noticed. But Bob, your jokes, they're something. Do you write your own material?
Why, do you like them?
Not really, no.
Well, then Bing Crosby writes all my jokes. Live radio.
Well, if that's the case, then I have a little joke for you.
Oh, a joke
Tell
for
it-
me?
You know, maybe if you like it, you can put it into your next act.
I'd love to put it into my acting here.
Okay. What is the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
The difference between a hippo and a zippo. Why, I don't know, Dawn. What is the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
Well, a hippo is very, very heavy, but a zippo, on the other hand, is just a little lighter.
Well, thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you didn't come all of this way just to hear this beautiful young voice banter back and forth with the old Bobster here. I'm sure you'd like to hear this young lady sing you some songs. So how about we just pass over the stage and the microphone to the lovely Dawn O'Day. Let's give her a great big hand.
Thank you. Time to cue up the live band. Hello, railroad. Is this the railroad? I want a one-way ticket down to Tennessee. I'm leaving immediately. Chattanooga, here I come. Pardon me, boy. Is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? Right on track 29. Boy, you can give me a shine. I can afford to board the Chattanooga choo-choo. I got my fare and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore. Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle blowing 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far. Shovel all the coaling, gotta keep it rolling. Woo woo, Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a certain party at the station in Satin Lane. I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? Hey there, boys, yes, 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 I'm going back to Tennessee. Hey there, boys, yes, 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 I want a one-way ticket on the Chattanooga choo-choo train. Pardon me, boys, woo-woo, is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? Right on track 29. Night, baby, oh yeah, boy, you can give me a shine. Oh, give me a really good shine. There's gonna be a certain party at the station in Satin Lanes. I used to call Funny Face. And she's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? Thank you. This next song was requested by a couple of sailors at our last USO stop. So we're sending it out again over the ocean waves to all of you sailors out there who requested this through your letters. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me close and tell me you've missed me. When I'm alone and blue as can be, dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying things. Sweet dreams to sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, a little dream of me. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying things. Sweet dreams to sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. And in your dreams, whatever they be, a little dream of me. Dream a little dream of me. Dream a little dream of me. Thank you. Thank you very much. I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never looked back at fireflies. Now when stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. I never went in for afterglow, or candlelight on the mistletoe. And now when you turn the lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. Used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark that's a alarm I never made love by lantern shine. I never saw rainbows in the night. Now that lamps are burning wide, I'm beginning to see the light. Oh, I'm beginning to see the light.
The light, the light, the light.
Thank you. There were three little sisters, and each one was only in her teens. One loved a soldier, one loved a sailor, and sisters. They were the fairest of all, from Iceland right to the Philippines. So said the soldier, so said the sailor, and so said the lad from the marine. And when the boys marched away, the girls said they'd be true until the boys marched back someday. And those three little sisters stay home and read their magazine. You can tell it to the soldier, tell it to the sailor, and tell it to the marine. Three little sisters, each one was only in her teens. One loved a soldier, one loved a sailor boy, one loved a lad from the Marines. Now these three little sisters, they were the fairest of them, from Iceland right to the Philippines. So said the soldier, so said the sailor boy, so said the lad from the Marines. And when the boys marched away, the girls said they'd be true until the boys marched back someday. Now those three little sisters stay home and read their magazines. You can tell it to the soldier, tell it to the sailor, oh, and tell it to the marine. Thank you very much. One more song before Bob Hope gets back up here on the mic. Let's get right into it. I'll be with you in apple blossom time. I'll be with you to change your name to mine. One day in May, I'll come and say, happy the bride that the sun shines on today. What a wonderful wedding there will be. What a wonderful day for you and me. Church bells will chime, you will be mine in apple blossom time. I'll be with you in apple blossom time. Then I'll be with you to change your name to mine. One day, maybe it may, I'll come and say to you, dear, happy the bride that the sun shines on today. Then what a wonderful wedding there will be. One day in May, what a very, very wonderful day for you and me, dear. Church bells will chime, you will be mine in apple blossom time. Thank you very much.
Fellas, ladies and gentlemen, how about it? A big round of applause for the lovely and talented Dawn O'Day. Give her a big round of applause. Big round there. Thank you very much. Thank you all very, very much for being here today.
You know, Bob, it's really great what you've been doing for all these GIs out here, bringing them a little taste of home as you tour the world and visit all of our fighting men out there overseas. But, you know, I read you ran into a little bit of trouble the last time you were landing for a show in the Pacific Theater. Is that true?
Why, yes, Dawn, and I gotta tell you, our transport plane was coming in for a landing on this little atoll when we were suddenly attacked by numerous Japanese fighters. Numerous Japanese fighters. But don't ask me to tell you exactly how much and how many, because it's hard to count when you're hiding under the seat. And the commanding officer there, well, he was a really swell guy, the commanding officer. Why, he had a chicken standing by, just in case I needed blood. And he was a really brave man, too, a really brave man. Why, when the bombs started falling and the bullets started flying, he wasn't one to hide under the bed. And believe me, I was in a position to know.
Well, I read that you were shot 5 times in the tabloids.
Absolutely not true. Those bullets came nowhere near my tabloids. I can assure you. I was under the bed after all. Say, did the commanding officer here show you that special new bomber across the field with all the top secret anti-radar equipment? Boy, is it something special. It flies in completely undetected, drops a couple of bombs, and then leaves totally unnoticed. It's so special.
Oh, that's not so special. You've been doing that for years.
I'll put it here on the chair beside you.
Okay, thank you.
Boy, I gotta tell you.
Say, Bob, I ran into a colonel who told me his wife was driving him to drink. Isn't that just awful?
Gee, I think that's swell. My wife makes me walk.
Well, we talk a lot about our radio show, but Access Sally has been broadcasting from Tokyo, and it seems she's taken a particular liking to you.
Oh, she has?
Well, she put a price on your head, and a price on Bing Crosby's head to any Japanese fighter pilot who shoots you down.
A price on my head and a price on Bing Crosby's head? Well, that doesn't sound good. Hey, wait a minute. What's the price on Crosby's head?
In American money, about $10,000.
Wow, $10,000. Holy cow. What about me? I can only imagine.
37 cents.
37 cents? That can't be right.
I'm guessing it's just enough to cover postage and handling.
Oh my Lord, I seem to get no respect these days, even from Access Sally. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me turn the microphone over to the lovely Dawn O'Day. Give her another big round of applause.
I want to remind all of you soldiers listening around the world to keep sending us your letters. We love to hear from you and read each and every one. This next song goes out to the 308th Bomb Group stationed somewhere in China, and I hope you always have blue skies. Blue sky smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see.
This is delicious.
Blue birds singing their song. Nothing but blue birds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my, they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies, blue skies, blue skies, nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue birds, they're singing their song, and all of these blue birds have got me singing along. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my, they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. here's another wish for victory. When we're out together dear, my heart grew light and this whole world seemed new to me. You're at least what I have to admit you deserve expressions that really fit you. So I've racked my brain hoping to explain all the things that you do to me. By me, Mr. Shane, please let me explain. By me, Mr. Shane means you're grand. By me, Mr. Shane, again I'll explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. I could say Bella, Bella, even say wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. I've tried to explain. Find me, Mr. Shane, so kiss me and say you understand. By me, Mr. Shane, you've heard it all before, but let me try to explain. My name, Mr. Shane, means that you're grand. By me, Mr. Shane, means such an old vein, and yet I should explain. It means I am begging for your hand. I could say Bella, Bella, even say wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. Really, I could say Bella, Bella, even say wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. I tried to explain. By me, Mr. Shane, so kiss me and say that you will understand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you again. It's wonderful to see so many of you soldiers out there actually singing along with the songs. Makes us feel very, very glad and very, very happy. Well, thank you, Dawn. And I gotta tell you, I'm so glad you sang that last song because, as you know, I'm a frequent visitor to the Brown Derby Club in Hollywood, and my favorite bartender, Mr. Shane, works at the Brown Derby. And every time I walk through the door, I say those words. My beer, Mr. Shane. My beer, Mr. Shane.
Close enough.
Well, when I was backstage, Dawn, I received this telegram from another friend of mine in Hollywood, and he's hoping that some of the GIs out there in the field might be able to help him. He has a small problem. If you don't mind, take a couple of minutes. I'll read this, and perhaps there's a GI out there who might be able to help my friend. It's a telegram, and it reads, "Please help. Stop. I bought an 8-week-old female German Shepherd that we named Sherry as a surprise for my wife. Stop. But it turns out that my wife is allergic to dogs. So now we are looking to find her a new home. Stop. She's 39 years old, a beautiful, caring woman who's a great cook, keeps a good house, and also knows how to drive. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. What kind of a telegram is that? Well, I have some more bad news. On the way over here, I lost my St. Anthony's medal. That's
Is it
true.
ironic? A little bit.
And the sergeant major came up to a private in the mess hall the other day at dinner, and he said to the private, "Private, I did not see you during camouflage training this morning." And the private said, "Thank you, sir." And the men were falling in for inspection, and the sergeant major goes up to this private, looks his uniform up and down, and he says, "Private, your uniform is frayed." And the private said, "Begging your pardon, sir, but this uniform ain't frayed of nothing." Well, there were these two brothers from Tennessee, and right after Pearl Harbor, they marched into Memphis because they wanted to join the Air Force. So the first brother goes up to the recruitment officer and he says, "Sir, I'd like to join the Air Force." Recruitment officer says, "That's great. What can you do to help us in the Air Force?" First brother says, "Why, I'm a pilot." Recruitment officer says, "Fantastic. Fill out this application, step to the side, I'll be right with you." So his brother goes up to the officer and says, "Sir, I'd like to join the Air Force." The officer says, "Well, tell me, son, what can you do to help the Air Force?" Second brother says, "Why, I'm a wood chopper." And the officer says, "A wood chopper? We have no need for wood choppers in the Air Force. You might want to try the infantry, 2 doors down the hall." And the second brother says, "But sir, you took my brother." Officer says, "Of course we took your brother. He's a pilot." And the second brother says, "With all due respect, sir, I have to chop it before he can pilot." Thank you so much. So there was this paratrooper on his first jump that jumps out of the airplane and he's falling towards the earth and his parachute doesn't deploy. It's just streaming up behind him. So as he was trained to do, he pulls on his reserve chute, the cord on his reserve chute, and his reserve chute doesn't open. And he continues to fall towards the earth at about 350 miles an hour. And as he's falling, all of a sudden, another GI comes up in the opposite direction from the earth, and they kind of pass each other as they go by. And the first, the paratrooper says to the other fellow, he says, "Say fella, do you know anything about parachutes?" And the other GI says, "No, do you know anything about disarming bombs?" And I talked to a lot of the men, on our tours, and I gotta tell you that the men don't think a lot of their officers are very smart. And he told me this one story. They were out on maneuvers with 3 officers in the woods, and these 3 officers came upon a set of tracks. First officer says, "Those are deer tracks." Second officer says, "No, no, no, those are moose tracks." And the third officer says, "Absolutely not. I know absolutely for sure that those are elk tracks." And apparently, they were still arguing when they were hit by the train. So this old World War I veteran goes into the pension office because it seems that he's running out of money every month, at the end of every month, and he goes into the pension office to ask for some more money at the end of the month. Pension officer looks at his records and he says, "I don't understand this. We're paying you plenty of money. You're getting a huge pension. How could you possibly be running out of money?" And the World War I veteran says, "Well, sir, some of the money I spent on fast horses, old scotch, and young women. And the rest of it I wasted." Okay, I think we have time for just one more. This captain and his wife, they're in the PX shopping, and the captain goes over to the shelf, pulls off a bottle of scotch off the shelf and puts it in the basket. And his wife says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm buying this bottle of scotch. It's on sale. It's only $2.50. And his wife says, "We don't need that." Takes it out of the basket, puts it back on the shelf. They go around the corner, and his wife takes a bottle of face cream off the shelf and puts it in the basket. And the captain says, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm buying this bottle of face cream. It's on sale for $5, and it'll make me look beautiful." And the captain said, "Well, so will my bottle of scotch, and it's half the price." All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's turn the microphone over for some more songs to the lovely and talented Donna O'Day. Give her a big hand.
Thank you, Bob.
Although some people say he's just a crazy guy, to me that means a million other things. Let's take a boat to Bermuda. Let's take a plane to Singapore. Let's take a kayak to Quincy or Naya. Let's get away from it all. Let's take a trip in a trailer. No need to come back at all. Let's take a powder to Boston for chowder. Let's get away from it all. We'll travel around from town to town. We'll visit every state. And I'll repeat, I love you, sweet, in all the 48. Let's go again to Niagara. And this time we'll look at the falls. Let's leave our hut, dear, get out of our rut, dear. Let's get away from it all. Let's travel south of the border. I'll get a real Spanish shawl. Or let's go to Reno and play some Keno. Let's get away from it all. They say there's no place quite like home, a charming thought and pure. But until the world we roam, how can we be sure? Let's go again to Niagara. This time let's look at the falls. Let's leave our hut, dear, get out of our rut, dear. Let's get away from it all. Thank you very much. So this next song was requested in many, many letters. It is very, very popular with all the flyboys over in England. So it's dedicated to the airmen of the 8th Air Force and all of our RAF friends out there listening to the broadcast as well. Just you wait and see. Real love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free. The shepherd will tend his sheep. The valley will bloom again. And Jimmy will go to sleep in his own little room again. There'll be bluebirds over and white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. The shepherd will tend his sheep. The valley will bloom again. And Jimmy will go to sleep in his own little room again. Just you wait and see. Thank you, Beth. I think we have time for one more song before we just about wrap it up. And the angels sing. The angels sing the sweetest song I've ever heard. We sing, and the angels sing. Or am I breathing music into every word?
This is my lovely daughter, Alyssa Martin, performing as Dawn O'Day. And I gotta tell you, she gets her voice and her looks from my wife. Guaranteed. So thanks for the memories. Thanks for the memories. We want to say now, one last time, thanks for the memories. The sentimental verse, a pretty army nurse, and chuckles when the major said, Bob Hope, you marched the worst.
How lovely it was. Thanks for the memories. With lunch and nickel cokes, silly Bob Hope jokes. Such a wonderful afternoon with all you real swell folks. We thank you so much. 1 hour here in Montrose, we never wanted to end. But boy, it was swell while it lasted. We sure had fun and no harm done. So thanks for the memories. A pair of silver wings, we meet and the angels sing.
This song would be much better if I could only sing like Bing. Sleigh bells in the snow.
So thanks for the memories. Awfully glad we met you.
Cheerio, toodaloo. We thank you so much. Thanks for the memories, everybody. This is Bob Hope signing off from the New York State Veterans Home. We want to thank them for their wonderful hospitality today. On behalf of my daughter, Alyssa, and I want to tell all you veterans out there, thank you for your service. God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you again. Good night. Thank you.
I
I can do one.
You want to hear one more?
Would you like to do God Bless America? If everyone sings along.
Oh, yes, that
We
was
can do
great.
that.
Okay, God bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, on behalf of the disabled American veterans of the Department of New York, we thank you very much for being here. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. We hope your bellies are somewhat full. And we do appreciate you being here, especially our veterans, because they are the reason
Yes.
that we are here. Thank you again.
Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. We really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Great show. Thank you.